Hey guys, welcome back. Chili Sports Cards here. Sorry about that. I had to get off making the last video. It kind of ended a little funny. Um, so, anyways, I'll try to just add on to it and make this separate video and stuff. I was right in the middle of talking about card grading, and I was saying that SGC always isn't the best option. I like them the best overall. I think their price, their customer service, their return time, and how they grade cards in their process, and I think it's real accurate and fair. The price is good. The slabs I like the most, the black. But once again, they're not always the best option. Okay, if you take a look at this this autograph card, it's a Matt Chapman. I thought that they were going to authenticate this autograph, but it didn't turn out that way. I don't think that I have an example of an auto that's been authenticated. I don't know if I have one. I have had some. This is another example right here of the grading company that you don't want to use. Okay, so GMA is okay. They definitely have their place in the market right now. I'll talk about that later, but you don't want to really buy cards like this or send cards into this type of company. You want to use one of the top three companies. Okay, Beckett, PSA, and SGC, and maybe possibly GMA if it's the right card. So anyways, getting back to the authentication on the autos, yeah, SGC just doesn't do them. Beckett does them, and PSA, and it's usually a couple extra dollars extra. I think Beckett, I just did a video today for the authentication on the autographs. It's an extra $2. So what's gonna happen is, I'm gonna just go ahead and use my little mobile device here. Hopefully it turns on here. I thought I already had it on, but I guess not. Hopefully it don't turn off on me. I'm gonna go ahead and take it off camera while it's loading up. So the Beckett, it's gonna have, this is gonna be scooted over a little bit more, and there's gonna be another number here. And if this was autographed, it would have like a number for the autograph, and it would say authentic on it. So Beckett does it, PSA does it, but SGC doesn't. That doesn't mean that SGC won't do it in the future. SGC used to do it. You might find some SGC cases that actually have it authenticated. Unfortunately, right now they're not doing that. I don't know why they stopped doing that, because I think that really is a big deal. It's a huge deal. I mean, if you ask me, a lot of these card breakers, if you're watching card breakers, case breakers online, and they're opening up boxes and boxes and cases of cases, a lot of times they go through the cards real super fast, and they don't even care about anything except for the autos. Like, every other card is worthless, and I think that's kind of a shame. Truthfully, I'm not really even that big on the autographs, because the way that I look at it, we're talking about the grading here, but I'm just talking about sports cards in general, just, while I'm here and talking to you guys. And I've said this before in one of my other videos, but I'm going to go ahead and say it again. This right here, he signed this sticker. This is a sticker autograph. It's cool that he signed it, and then it's on that card, but at the end of the day, it's a little bit of extra ink, and then he's just saying, this is how I sign my name. That's it. This is how I sign my name. That's what this says to me. Well, it's something like this is, game worn in an actual game. Maybe he had a home run in this game. Maybe this is a rookie card, and it's one of the first jerseys that he wore. Maybe it's one of the first games that he played in where he hit a home run. I think that's way cooler. I think that that's way cooler. And I think that, for the card companies, it's a lot harder for them to make cards that, you can put these pieces of materials in. They put bats in the cards. They put bat knobs. They put laundry stickers. I mean, they do all kinds of weird stuff now. Back in the day, it was the jersey first. Well, the autograph came first, and then the jerseys, and then they started doing some other stuff. They have pieces of cleat, socks, batting gloves. They do all kinds of stuff now. Anything that you can think of, basically. If it's on a field, or if it's on the player. I've seen bases. I've seen all kinds of cool stuff. So it's definitely a lot cooler now than it was, in the 90s. But one of the things that I really liked about the 90s, that I miss a lot about the 90s, was the inserts. And we're talking about this edition of this video was talking about the storage of cards and the plastics and stuff like this. This is kind of older, but older plastics. But anyway, this is an insert from the 90s. I think that those are just so cool, man. They had different designs, and this is like stars, and it says card frontational on the back. It has Mariano Rivera. You know, I really miss the inserts of the 90s. I wish that they would make a set that had a whole bunch of really cool inserts. Like, I think that Stadium Club is a type of card that they're making that has a decent amount of inserts. So I like that. I like that a lot. I don't know if I'm going to be really investing much money this year into Topps or Bowman. I think that Panini makes a better card. We're talking about just base Panini, the Panini Prism. I think that those cards are just phenomenal cards. Cards like, let's see if I got one out handy here. Yeah, I got one right here. So this is a Panini card. If I look at this card and I hold it and I feel it, it's so much sturdier, rigid, better built, you know, not as easily damaged. If you get a basic Topps card, you know, a 2020 Topps card, you're not really getting a whole lot different card than 1986. Really, it's just a paper card. I think that Topps really needs to step up their game when it comes to their basic stuff, because I think that we're in the year 2020. I think that, you know, this type of quality card in 2020, I mean, I think it's garbage, man. I really do. I think that's garbage. And it, you know, there's some of the cheaper option, you know, cards that they have, and the year just started. But I mean, make some better product, man. I just think that it's baloney. You know, this is a much better product, even though it doesn't have the MLB stuff on it or the teams. I don't care. I like Panini a lot. I think that they're a much better company, and Topps to me is just a little stale, if you ask me. You know, I don't know, man. That's just my opinion. Some of their products pretty nice, but we're talking about just the base. I think they need to step up their game. So I'm not buying into the 2020 Topps. So yeah, this video was kind of we'll go back to the card grading topic here. So yeah, the SGC does not have the subgrades. It doesn't tell me like where this card might be flawed, why it didn't get a 10 pristine instead of a gem mint. You know, it doesn't tell me where this card's flawed, why it got a 9. Beckett, on the other hand, they offer the subgrades, and it gives you like a number, a stat. You know, where this card's flawed at. The surface is really good. The corners are decent. No, the centering's off. It's saying it's a 7.5, and the edges are kind of iffy. Give it a so overall I got an 8, but I know where it's saying that the card's messed up at, which is really cool. PSA does not offer that also. I think that if PSA did offer the subgrades, I think that would be, I think that they would blow everybody out of the water probably. I don't think because PSA has everything except for the subgrades, and Beckett, obviously it does have everything. I think that Beckett has the thickest case, the nicest built case, and even inside of the case itself, they put them in like this sealed plastic little thing, and so it's waterproof and it's sealed in there. As far as like what company does the best with their slabs, it's definitely Beckett. Beckett does the best job. You know, the cases are the thickest, they're the best built. So and it also costs the most. I mean, you're talking about $25 a card, 30-day wait, 30 business day wait, and if you're gonna pay for the autograph and everything else. So I think that PSA and SGC are similar priced. I think the PSA is a little bit more, but not much. The cases on the PSA and the SGC, they're very similar. You know, thick wise, I think that these are a little bit bigger and a little bit thicker, the SGC, than the PSAs, but the PSAs are nice. They're real popular. Everybody really likes PSA a lot for the most part, and for good reason. They've been around, you know, I think they've been around the longest. They did a lot of good things for the hobby, basketball, football, and baseball. Like, for instance, like when the Jordans really started to get faked a lot, and they were making a lot of fake Jordan cards. You know, they were catching a lot of them, saying, oh, this isn't a real card, this isn't a real card, and sending back the fake card. They probably should have just kept them and destroyed them. But, you know, it is what it is. They can't do that, so. Anyway, grading cards, it's a big part of the hobby right now, because a lot of, like I said in the other video before I got cut off, when I had to leave so abruptly, a lot of cards are sold on eBay, you know. So if you're buying a card on eBay, You know, you buy a card that's like this, you don't know exactly what you're getting as far as the shape of the card. You just don't know. When you buy a card that's graded, you know. And that's why it's so important, because a lot of cards are bought online. You know, some people you really just can't trust nowadays. And those show with the eBay, you know, because if you get a dinged up card or somebody doesn't ship it to you right, you know, they're going to get bad comments and their rating's going to go down and stuff like that. So you just have to just be careful from who you buy from. Make sure that they have good ratings and stuff like that. I'm trying to get onto eBay right now, so that way I can show you guys what a BGS autograph looks like, how it shows, you know, the difference between the SGC non-authenticated BGS auto. Oh, let's do that. Okay, this is the first card that popped up, and I just hit BGS auto, and that's probably not exactly the best. Best example there. Okay, this is a perfect example right here. This is Trevor Bauer. It's a Bowman Chrome. Okay, so you notice how it has all the subgrades, and then the card grade, and then the Beckett autograph. It says 10. Okay, so they authenticated the autograph. They're saying that that's legit and it's 10. If they decided that the autograph wasn't, you know, legitimate, and it wasn't, you know, a real autograph, then they probably wouldn't even grade the card, and they'd probably just send it back to you. So the difference between that and this is not, you know, this is not authenticated autograph. I know it's real, but, you know, I would have a hard time selling this card because it hasn't been authenticated. It's not an authenticated auto. And SGC, they stopped doing that. I really hope that they change that, because I think that that's a huge part of the business, and it's something that they need to get back into doing, because it's a vital thing. They have to be able to authenticate autographs. They have to, if they want to stay afloat in the long run, and they want to, you know, be one of the big boys. They got to start doing that again. And I think that, you know, every one of these companies should do the subgrades like Beckett does. I think that's a huge deal. You know, for me, as a collector, as somebody that sends cards in to get graded, I'm gonna wonder, you know, why that card got something. You know, if I send this card in right here and it comes back to me, like say I say it to SGC and it comes back to me like a 7. Well, I'm gonna say, well, why is it a 7? I looked at it really good. I thought it would at least get an 8.5 or a 9 or something. You know, and then it, you know, if I had sent it to Beckett, it'll tell me, you know, the edges are messed up, or the centering's really bad, or, you know, whatever bad grade it got, it would tell me on there, you know, where it's messed up at. There's only 4 possible areas where a card can be, you know, not perfect, or you could say damaged or whatever. So if we're looking at the card, the centering has nothing to do with any kind of damage on the card. It's just basically how well the card's supposed to be cut overall, and where the card's cut. And if it's, you know, off cut or off center, you know, obviously it's gonna be a bad grade. So that's the only one that doesn't, you know, measure any kind of damage, actual physical damage on the card. The edges, you know, is this part right here, the edges, okay, and the corners are the corners, and the surface is the actual surface of the card. And Beckett does a great job. They're very expensive though. Very expensive compared to the other two. And a lot of times, if you look at the more, you know, popular cards in the hobby, like say for the instance the 89 Griffey, you know, if you can get a graded 10, you know, or a black label 10, you're looking at some big money. You're gonna sell that card for way more than a PSA 10 or an SGC 10, or even an SGC 10 pristine. The Beckett 10s are where the money's at. Big money compared to the other ones. So just depending on what you have, I think, for instance, like I said, there's a place in the hobby for each one of these types of grades, or graders, I can say. Say for instance, say this card right here. I think that this GMA right here is a perfect fit for a card like this, because they do pretty good work. The grading's inexpensive, and you know, if it grades a 9 or 10, it might help me sell that a little easier, because somebody's more like, well, you know, it's graded at a, you know, at a good grade, and I know that what I'm getting, and it's going to come to me in this this pretty durable case where it's not going to get, you know, damaged in the mail type of thing. And you know, the buyer has a little bit more, you know, comfort in buying something like that, rather than, instead of it just being a plain card that could easily get damaged or, you know, bent funny in the mail. So that's what I think that this company has its place in the market. Is for the, you know, the good cards that are relatively inexpensive, are not worth a whole lot. I think that GMA is perfect for that. These are Beckett grade. I'm not even sure if Beckett still does it in this type of case anymore. I'm not sure, but basically this is like a raw, I mean, these are worth raw card price. I mean, there's no extra value in these, so people don't really spend a lot on these BCCGs. SGC overall, great slab, low cost, great turnaround times, beautiful slab. Overall, I think that they're probably the best, but they're not always the best case. You're not going to want to use them for everything. You know, non-autos is good. You know, if you had a card like this, you know, and you wanted to see it in a nice SGC tuxedo, you know, it would kind of look something like that, and that would look really good. You know, that's really cool looking setup there. You know, PSA is I think that PSA is the leader. They're the number one company used, and for good reason. They do a good job. You know, there's, like I said, they have had some issues with you know, letting trim cards go by, and they've been linked up with some of the bigger sellers on eBay. And a lot of bad things. So I don't send cards into PSA. I don't, you know, support PSA. But I will continue to collect PSA. I will buy PSA. I just will not send stuff in to get graded through them, and that's just my personal choice. You guys can definitely use whoever you want. If you're new to collecting, you know, that might be what you like the most. You know, you feel like that red and white, and it's all good. I'm just kind of wondering how this would look in the SGC case, because I really love this card. I think it's awesome. You know, I think that would look pretty cool in a SGC, but it looks good in the PSA too. So anyway, that's a PSA for you. PSA is really, they're a good company, and Beckett's the most expensive, and they got the most going for them. Beckett has everything, really, they do. They're just so expensive. So yeah, they even got that like serial number down here. I don't know exactly if they're all the same, but they just do everything. They offer every single thing that you could ask for. They authenticate the autographs. They give you the subgrades. They're the best case. Not exactly the best eye appeal, but you know, it's a baseball card, so yeah. And they got, and the 10s are obviously the big money, so you can't go wrong if you know, decide you're going to spend the money and go through Beckett. But I only recommend using Beckett for really high dollar cards, or I mean, we're talking about cards that are over the $100 range. Like, I thought about sending this card in to get graded with the other ones that I recently did a thing on. I already filled out the form. I'll just give you some examples if you didn't watch the video yet. There are these 4 cards, okay? Nolan Arenado autograph rookie cards, and the 89 Griffey that I pulled in a box. If you haven't watched this video, I recommend going back and watching it. It's a really cool video. I pulled it in the second pack. I was really excited about it. So anyway, like, I got to send those cards in to Beckett because the autos. I won't use PSA, so that's my only option. And if SGC did the autos, I would probably send them in to SGC. So it's kind of a bummer they don't do that, but if you're gonna want to properly store your cards in the best way that you can, and the cards have, you know, good value to them, use the grading companies. Send them to SGC, send them to PSA, send them to Beckett. You can't go wrong with that. Or you don't have to do any of that at all if you really don't want to. You can just keep them on top loaders or put them in the binders, like I showed you in my last video, which is fine too. If you're looking to sell them, you might want to use the graded because they're a lot easier to sell that way, and a lot of people like to buy the graded stuff. I know I do. I don't necessarily have to. Like, I mean, I bought this card right here. I bought it ungraded. You know, I buy stuff that's ungraded too. I bought these ones. These are ungraded cards. I don't know if I plan on grading them, but I know that if that, this card right here later on I could sell for $100, I might send it to get graded. As of right now, it's not going to be like that, so I'm not worried about it. Buy the cards, not the grade, is a good popular saying that a lot of people say. And that's true in a lot of cases, but at the same time, if you're going to invest some good money, like if you were buying a tops traded Tiffany Berry bonds, that would be a big card, and that would be a card that you would want to make sure that you got in the right condition. If somebody had a tops traded Tiffany Berry bonds and it was raw, and they're advertising it as mint, and you got it in the mail after spending $600 on it or something like that, and it had a crease in it, you'd be devastated because you just basically threw away $400, $500, whatever, because the card would be worth way less. And that's a great example of why buying graded cards is very important today, because you can get ripped off pretty easy, and you can lose out on a lot of money. And this is a a security blanket, or it's a insurance policy basically, to make sure that you get the card that you're actually looking to get, so in the condition that you want it in. So it's very important. It's a big part of the market today, and we don't have a lot of options. We basically just have the top three: the PSA, the Beckett, and the SGC. GMA, if you want to spend a little. And they're actually doing really good quality work right now, so it's definitely worth mentioning. GMA. Anybody else you want to stay away from. You don't want to buy cards that are graded by any other company whatsoever. These are raw prices, so if you see these and you like the card a lot, like I've seen 2010 Bowman Platinum Mike Trout refractor rookie cards in these, and these were a lot more popular back in that time. And if you're gonna get a 10 mint or better, it's graded by Beckett, okay? So they're not just anybody. 10 mint or better means basically in a 9 like this or better. It could be a 9.5 or a 10 in one of these. It could be. Chances are that it's not. Chances are it's probably a 9, but it's just a totally different process. They don't go through it 100% the same way that they do with these. And you're basically, these are like a raw value card. So if you're looking at Beckett, and the card book's at $50, like pretend this is an Upper Deck Griffey card, and a mint Griffey and the Beckett says $50. Well, you don't want to buy a Griffey that's encased like this for more than the $50. Maybe 60. You go up a little bit, but not much. You want to spend $100 on it, like it's a BGS 10, because you're talking about $3 or $4 grand at that point, and that's just not going to be the case. If that's the case, then somebody already probably bought that card and broke it and put in one of these. So anyway, yeah, like I said, man, it's a big part of the hobby. You want to make sure that you store the cards properly, take good care of them, handle them well. Depending on what you open, you want to make sure you're wearing gloves. Handle them great. Make sure that you're not over squeezing them or rubbing them funny, or slowing them down, or scooting them across surfaces that are rough, so you're not scratching the surfaces and stuff like that. Just take good care of them, and be a good collector. Have fun with it. It's very important to keep these cards as in good shape as we can, because there's a market for them, and everybody wants to buy mint stuff. Nobody wants to buy junky cards and stuff. So it's very important that we all do our part. Anybody that's I've done a video on this before. It's called like how to ship cards in the mail. If you go back to my different videos and you go back and look at it, if you decide that you've actually built a collection up, and you maybe don't want something no more, and there's something out that you want better, and you want to sell a card, it's not real hard, people. It's not hard at all. You just get some of that blue electrical tape. You stick the card inside something like this, slide it in, you put it in a bubble mailer, and then you mail it. It's not really hard. I really like this blue tape. Stay away from the Scotch tape on the plastics. You can use Scotch tape in certain cases, but just don't use it on the plastics, because it's real hard on the plastics. So I know that nobody likes getting Scotch tape on their stuff. So that's gonna do it for this video. Sorry that I had to stop on talking and everything on the last one. I ended it kind of funny, but yeah, I had to do something real quick. It was important. So anyways, yeah, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if this video helped you out. we're talking about grading and stuff like that. I've done a lot of card, videos on this stuff already. Feel free to go check them out and get a little bit of information about it. I've definitely talked more in depth about the grading and how there's definitely a place for each one, and depending on the card, who you might want to send it to. I think that if your card has a funny surface, that Beckett's a good choice because the other subgrades can carry the card. That's why I'm sending in my 89 Upper Deck to Beckett, because I could send my 89 Upper Deck into SGC. I could, but it has like a little wrinkle like right there. I'm not sure if you can see it in this video or not. I'll try to, but yeah, it has a wrinkle. It looks kind of like a crease, but it's not. It doesn't go through the card. It's only on the front side right here. So I'm hoping that the good other subgrades carry the surface grade. If it gets like an 8.5 for the surface, it might still get a 9 or 9.5. It just depends on how good the other grades are. So I think that the Beckett is good for that. Overall, I think the SGC is the best bargain, but you can't use them for autographs. And then PSA is, PSA for me is just not somebody I'm willing to use at all. For me, it's either SGC or Beckett, but that might change at some point. Just as of right now, I'm not using them, but they're definitely, you can use them if you want. So, I just my personal choice. So, all right, guys, that's gonna do it. I appreciate it very much. Have a great night, and God bless everybody. And hopefully, everybody's in good health, and we can get through this pandemic together. Wash your hands, stay in when you can, and that's it. So enjoy the hobby, have fun, keep collecting. Talk to you later. Peace.